It's Robert E. Fouracre.
My name is Robert, Mr. Entertainment Fouracre.
No, I'm Bob Fouracre, and this is Big Shot Bowling. Emanating from the Londonderry Bowling Center in Londonderry, New Hampshire, it's Big Shot Bowling. Big Shot Bowling is brought to you in part by Dunny Ford. From economy to luxury, you'll find it at Dunny Ford. By Diamond Chevrolet, where you always get a diamond of a deal. And by Durette, custom concepts in cast lucite. Big Shot Bowling is brought to you in conjunction with the World Candlepin Bowlers Congress. Hi, everybody. Bob.
Sorry, I'm late. You know,
we were saying Dan the Man, and now you know he's not around.
I know I had to do it. I know I had to do the show. And
well, how come you're not in time?
You know, if you took a Boston cab, you would have been here on time.
Oh, you and your Boston. We got to get going. Come on, let's go. It's Big Shot Bowling right here on the New England Sports Network. Ligums, it's Phil Clough, the challenger, against our seven-time champ, Peter Flynn. And here we go, the first of three, and Phil Clough knocks down 8. You know, John, if you took that Boston cab, you would have. I thought Dan might be back, and then I blew it, you know, and I should have known you were going to be there, but God darn it, put that down.
The traffic was tough.
Phil starts off with a spare. Phil Clough from Warren, Massachusetts.
Do you forgive me?
You're forgiven.
I mean, to start the show off in this way, I feel negative waves here.
Well, you should.
Feeling anxiety.
Phil filling in with a 4 count on his spare. He's going to try to dethrone our 7-time champ, Mr. Peter Flynn. Ooh, found the open space.
In the bunny hole. And
then some. Phil with an average of 120. His best high single ever, a whopping 206. His best triple of 466. Phil, after getting the spare 4, comes up with a disappointing 5 count. A 19 after 2 for the challenger. And here's the guy that's been in the winner's circle the last 7 weeks. Peter Flynn from Woburn, Massachusetts, with an average of a 127.
How many years has Peter been bowling?
He's been bowling candlepins for some 20-odd years, like make it 26 to be exact. He's been on the Pro Bowlers Tour for 16 seasons. He lifts off with a 9. So last week, John, as you recall, he had a good win over Mike Morrow, a 385 to a 374.
It wasn't that. It was an all right win.
All right. How about the week before when he defeated Brian Uphold with a sizzling, sensational, superlative 462.
I agree with that.
That was a good one. And the week before, he defeated Mike Mahaney.
Ooh.
Oh, nice shot. Oh, my. Spare it up.
Which Peter Flynn showed up today?
We'll find out in a while. Recapping his 7 straight wins, he first defeated Bill Treeful. Then it was Jim Kelly, Tom Surratt, Eddie Zernicke, Mike Mahaney. And after that, it was Brian Uphold, and last week, Mike Morrow. And this week, his opponent is Phil Clough. Bill with a 10 count. The winner of the show will be picking up a couple of $100. The runner-up 100. Both bowlers will receive trophies from George Gerton Trophy Center. They're located in Worcester, Massachusetts. And if a guy gets a triple strike during the match, he'll win himself a trip or 2 to Atlantic City, compliments of Fresh Pond Travel.
Long time between trips.
Yes, sir. And, of course, the big shot of the show is when the winner gets an opportunity to win himself a Thunderbird, brand spanking new Thunderbird, compliments of 6-gun Productions and Dunny Ford. And, of course, for those of you who might have just joined us here on Big Shot Bowling, it's John E. Ligums filling in for Dan the Man Murphy, who's somewhere in Canada.
It's right near the Bay of Fundy, was the last report.
That's the word, huh?
This woman, a fan of his, kidnapped him at gunpoint, and she's in a cabin up there, and they've been up there for the third week they're up there. The place is surrounded by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, but they were afraid that some bodily harm might come to Dan, so they're just surrounding the place. There's nowhere to go but up.
Way up. I wonder if Captain PJ will get involved in this one.
Well, PJ was instrumental in getting him back from Russia.
That he was. Let's see if Peter can make this happen. It's going to be a very difficult shot, but one never knows. The 5, the 9, the 6, and the 10 from left to right. Oh,
See that one?
he used it all that time, baby. Let's see if we can peek at that baby again. What a shot. Here it is, superlative. Here's the ball coming out and clipping down the last pin.
Just the way it was planned.
Here's Phil Clough.
Phil's right on the head pin. He's having a problem with that. Too full.
You enjoy this show, don't you? I mean, it's a lot more fun being out here than being behind the scenes.
Well, it's pressure.
We're in the first of 3. After 5, it's a 47 for Phil Clough, the challenger from Warren, Massachusetts.
But I'm no Bob Fouracre. I know that.
What did you say? I was taking
I
an
was just saying that. I was no Bob Fouracre. It's kind of like Marilyn Quayle was saying to Vice President Quayle. You know JFK.
That's right. The official for this show, the lob line judge, and the guy who makes all the official calls is Tony Zernicke. Our scorekeeper, the lady who keeps the score that you see right now, is Bert Perangeli. Our statistician, Cheryl Young. Our director for this show, Bob McElroy.
Cheryl's holding up very well, considering Dan's condition.
She's doing a fine job. Keep it up, Cheryl. A 3 on the spear for Peter. Pistol packing Peter with a couple of spares in the first game. Spare 7 and then a spare 3. Phil had 1 spare, a spare 4 in the opening frame.
What's the record for the most marks?
The most marks,
Triple.
21.
Dan has that?
No. Oh, Dan. Oh, yeah, Dan. I thought you meant someone else. Yeah, my man, Dan. Yeah, Paul Berger, Jack Senek, and Dan Murphy with 21 out of 30 frames. Oh, yes, nice one by Peter for the spare.
I'd like to see that one again if we could.
We can see it. There it is, superlative. Thank you, guys and gals, for producing that again.
McElroy must be up from his nap.
No, he probably has someone else doing it, and he's out to lunch. He could be on a mental vacation. I saw him the other day, and I said, "Where are you going, Robert?" And he said, "I'm going to the Church of the Majestic Nomads." He was with the good captain.
I haven't seen the captain in quite a while.
He's been spending a lot of time at the Church of the Majestic Nomads. It's located in Boston at Kenmore Square. As they say, be there or be square. Something like that.
I heard that Mr. Dukakis, now that he had some spare time, was showing up at that church.
That I don't know. Phil Clough doing bowling battle with our 7-time champ, Peter Flynn. And a 9 count for Phil. A 73 with 2 remaining. Phil was with us once before here on Big Shot Bowling back in 1985 when he lost to Terrific Tom Surratt with a 397 to a 360. I'll tell you, every time he gets here, he meets some of the heavies. Tom Surratt this time, the guy you're looking at, Peter Flynn.
Oh, I thought you met me before the show.
Peter leading by 17.
Oh.
Got it. Spares it up.
He's
4
way-
spares now.
Out of his 4 spares, 3 of them have been real dandies.
Mighty fine.
Not the run-of-the-mill spare.
Not the Mrs. Riley duck soup. That's what you were trying to say.
How is Mrs. Riley?
She is doing mighty fine. Yes. Oh, yes. Another spear. Let's see if we can peek at that baby.
Speaking of Rileys, we haven't seen Don Riley in a while.
There's that spare again. Now we're back to the action with Phil Clough. Phil with 1 spear. Peter with 5.
Haven't seen William Bendix either. Yeah, that's the life of Riley. Huh?
Oh, yeah, that's the same guy in the life of Riley. You. Oh, I hope they get Dan out of there, wherever he is.
Would you believe me if I told you I paid that woman to kidnap Dan so I could have my break into showbiz?
And I'm sure you did.
No, come on.
I'm sure you didn't overpay her, though. See if you can pick this one up.
You know, Monday Night Football has 3 in the booth. When Dan comes back, what do you think about it?
We'll have to. Well, I'd rather not. Well, it's
Actually,
not
you have a great resemblance to Howard Cosell in a lot of ways.
91 after 1 for Phil Clough. Here's Peter Flynn in the driver's seat by 27. Add 5 more to the score sheet. Got it by 32. This is the first of 3 here on Big Shot Bowling.
In
The
the
Big
first
5 lead.
first string, Clough wasn't tough.
Come on. .115 with 1 left for the 7-time King of the Hill. Backdoor action? No. Peter hoping to spare. So far, 5 spares in this game. Make it a half dozen. A 125 plus this ball for Peter.
His strike ball is left him. We haven't seen that in a while.
No, we haven't. He had 2 last week, and the week before he had a half dozen. Yes, there it is. Is that what you were looking for? And a 135 in the first game. So Peter Flynn on top. There it is again. That strike, a 135 to a 91. We'll be back with the second game. But before we do, we're going to hear from some of our friendly sponsors. Center for children with special needs.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, thank you, John, because I know you and your lovely wife, Ann, are very instrumental in this project. And the big guy starts it off with a strike. Peter Flynn.
Now, here's a technical question for you. The last 2 balls he's thrown are strikes.
Right.
One was in the last string and in the beginning of this string. If he gets this strike, does he get a trip?
Yes, he does. Here he goes for Atlantic City.
Well, it was a moot question. We got to cover these things. We didn't go over that in production, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's this show. Next show, maybe that won't be the case.
But
I
don't we
don't
have
know.
to tell him ahead of time?
Well, the guy who makes that decision is Tony, but Tony would put the green light on that one. A strike, 7 and then a 9.
How would Fresh Pond feel about
Oh,
that?
they'd love it. They want to give away trips. They're not like the guy who's trying to give away the automobile. And you know who that guy is. Here's Phil Clough.
Sucking pond water.
Yeah. Fresh Pond. And a 9 count. Phil trailing by 44 coming into this game. And he dips down a little lower. He's trailing it by 52.
You know, our good friend Darrell Barinholtz, the father of Jason Barinholtz over at Boston Cab, is having some trouble with some kidney stones. Too bad, huh?
I know what that's all about.
What, having trouble or the kidney stones?
All of the above. Oh, nice shot by Phil.
But he doesn't have half as much trouble as his cousin Brett Barinholtz, who just got engaged.
Is that right?
So
That's big time.
that's some serious kidney stones.
Yeah. Peter's up by 51. This is the second of 3. Looking for a spare.
He could go for his kidney stones.
Peter going after the 3 and the 6. He got it.
Beautiful.
Peter now with 7 spares along with 2 strikes. In the first game, Peter had a 135 and Phil Clough had a 91.
We should almost make Peter bowl right even things up.
Got it. Tags them all for the spare. Back-to-back spares by the 7-time champ. He has 8 in the match, along with 2 strikes. Phil Clough dropping 8.
How would you play this one, Bob?
Oh, what I would do is what he's going to do.
Miss the shot.
Oh, my. And a 10 for Phil. He has a 29 after 3 in the second game. From Warren, Massachusetts, Phil Clough. Oh, great try.
Nice try.
Thought he had it. Wrapped it right around the 10. $39 after 4 for the challenger, the champ. 53 plus this one working. Add 6 more to the score sheet for Peter.
He's not getting the
59.
big fills on his spares today. A lot of spares, but not the big fills.
There's a superlative spare off the bowling of Peter Flynn. Peter, one of the best in the world of candlepin bowling.
Here it is again, Bob.
Wow.
He's made some of the most unbelievable spares today.
Well, he steals 6.
Here's a chance for another unbelievable spare.
It's down there. Gotta watch out for that wood. He has to hit it just right. Well, I thought he hit it right, but didn't quite get the kickback that he wanted. Good try by Peter. And a 10 for the champ. Over the years now, Peter has won a dozen here on Big Shot Bowling.
That's the current record.
That it is. It's going to be tough to beat for a while. Unless Peter totally collapses, he'll be winning his 13th over the years and his 8th in a row.
Well, we're only in the second game here, Bob. You're gonna get the sponsors mad. Everybody will turn up.
Well, most of them don't pay anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that.
Can't you take a joke?
I
Public
have
service?
for 3 years.
Peter's leading by 71. Stick around. One never knows what might happen in this great sport of candlepin bowling. Hey, would like to say hello to all you people that are watching this show down in Arizona. We have some good friends down there, John. and a lot
Arizona
of viewers.
Sports Network. That's right.
George Allen is the guy who runs it. They didn't
Talking
fire
about cheap guys.
Yeah, they didn't fire him yet, did they?
I hope not.
He's a good man. 85 to 58 in the second after a half dozen. Flynn on the plus side. We'll be back with more, but first we're going to pause. Peter Flynn looking for his 8th straight here on Big Shot Bowling.
What's the record, Bob, for the largest pin differential?
It was back a couple of weeks ago, a 462 to a 358.
So 104 pins is the record?
Yep. I think.
Sounds good to me.
Sure, why not? Do you think they care in Broken Bottle, Texas, as long as they can see good, clean candlepin bowling?
Good, clean fun.
I was talking to my good friend down there, Mr. Glass, the other day from Broken Bottle, Texas. He sends his best to Dan, and Dan's not with us, and you don't seem to be concerned at all.
Dan who?
Yeah. Give me the mic, huh? Here's Peter going for the spare. No.
Mike Murphy would be a good name.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Cheryl, talk about people not caring. Cheryl cares less than I care.
Yeah, I know that. I've noticed that. A 105 with 2 remaining in the second for Peter. Here's Phil Clough.
Yes.
Phil not able to knock down too many pins right now. He's only had 1 mark in the match. He got that back in the first game. He started off with a spare 4, and since then it's been all bullets as far as marks are concerned.
I think blanks.
Yeah. Here's the double tandem leave. Tain't easy, baby. Well, he got the 2 on the right, the 6 on the 10. Now he's going to have to try to tip over the 4 in the 7. And a 10 count for Phil.
Phil's done a good job. He's having some real messy leads, and he's gotten himself out of them pretty well. He's not getting that spare or that strike.
Not getting the action in the first ball.
Neither is Dan, speaking of action.
Oh, there's a very interesting lead. Let's see what Mr. Peter Flynn can do with the 5 and the 6 with some lumber.
Oof.
Even with the lumber, it's tough, as you just saw. All the bowlers on this show are members of the World Candlepin Bowlers Congress, the WCBC. They are the people that run the Pro Bowlers Tour for the guys and the gals here in this part of the country in New England. Their president is Don Riley. Their vice president is Jack Ray. The secretary, Tony Zernicke. Helen Larson, the treasurer. They all do a great job.
I'll tell you, one person who's not doing a great job is our friend Madeline Stone from Abington. I still haven't gotten my dinner yet. What's that, 3 years now?
Something like that. A 125 for the champ, and he has himself a 260 after a couple.
Ooh.
Phil Clough from Warren, Massachusetts, with an average of a 120 and a heap of trouble, down by 72. Phil getting a 10. He's got a whole bunch of 10s. 87 with 1 to go for Phil. He had a 91 in the first game. Now he's starting to press a bit. Phil has been on the tour for 6 years. He was on the 1986 Massachusetts State Mixed Teams Champs. And there it is, a 95 along with a 91 and a 186 to a 260. The 7-time champ looking mighty fine, as he'll be grabbing his 8th, I'm sure, after 1 more game. So stick around and let's see if Peter Flynn can win it for the 8th time and then get himself an automobile. Of this match, he's trailing it by 74. He's in a heap of trouble, and he's against one of the best, if not the best, right now in the world of candlepin bowling, and Peter Flynn.
And Captain Peachy isn't here to help him.
Oh, he's in a heap of trouble. There's no question about it. And a drop of 8 after 2. And a 10 count for Phil. Phil with only 1 mark in this match. He had it in the very first frame.
You're not going to beat Peter Flynn with 1 mark.
In fact, you probably wouldn't even beat John E. Liggums with 1 mark. Well, most people would, but I don't know if Phil could.
I kind of like being beaten.
Phil Clough from Warren, Massachusetts, the father of 3. He once had a high single of a 206. He'd love a 206 right about now. His best high triple in the world can pin bowling, 466. A couple of 10s for Phil. Here's Peter. Peter with strings of 135 and 125 for his 260. The port sider looking for his 8th straight. Guess who's coming aboard next week, John? Sergeant Slaughter.
I've been waiting for him for 3 years.
Mike Sargent.
When's the last time he was on the show?
Oh, God, 142 years ago, I think.
Yeah, a little medical problem, and
Yeah,
happy
he had
now
a
he's
heart attack.
a lot better.
Doing well. In fact, when we started up Big Shot Bowling on the New England Sports Network, we started it all up back in June of 1985, and Mike Sargent won the very first match as he defeated Tom Ulster. And after that, he won 6 more before he finally lost to John Zernicke. So he won 7 in a row. The first 7 shows we ever had here on Big Shot Bowling were won by Mike Sargent. And I think he was with us one other time.
Was he?
Came up for a cup of coffee, didn't last too long. We'll have all that information next week. But Mike will be with us. And he'll be taking on the winner of this match, and I think it's safe to say that it will be Peter Flynn. And by the way, if Peter wins today, it will be 8 in a row, and next week he'll be going after the record.
To tie the record.
To tie the record that's held right now by Paul Berger of 9 straight.
And this is Peter's 13th. He's going to have the 13th win in a row?
Well, his 13th overall.
Overall, correct.
Looking for his 8th straight and 13th overall.
And depending on what happens next week, we'll know whether it was a lucky 13 or not.
That's right. Here's Phil. Hey,
there
nice
we go.
one. Phil with the strike. Let's see if we can get that, because Phil will be watching the show, and he'd like to put that in his memory bank. There it is. The home run ball off the bowling of Phil Clough. His 2nd mark in this match. Got a strike and got a spare. Here's Peter. Peter with 11 spares and 2 strikes. Hey, spare it up. Nice bowling by Peter. Oh, he's a
Cool one.
That he is.
It's funny, you remember John Havlicek, who used to play for the Celtics? He'd run up and down. It seemed like he'd never sweat. He's always cool. When you look at Peter, he looks like he's just sitting here having a cup of coffee. A lot of pressure. Bowling on TV and competition.
That it is.
He doesn't show it.
No, he doesn't. Peter going for another spare. Chalk it up. A dozen spares now for Peter Flynn as he got the single. 3 in a row for the final game. It's been a long match for Phil, but he's looking for the double. Here he goes. Wish him well. 2 full.
Peter's got a good chance at a 400 here.
Yeah, Peter has had a few 400s on this show. Looking back through the record book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 7 wins were 400 series.
Ernst and Winnie keep that record book for you?
Yes. Along with the assistance of Cheryl Young.
I think we can get my accountant, James Burke, to be able to keep the records. I mean, he is my accountant.
In fact, I was talking to him the other day. He said he'd like to do it.
Jim Burke is, he's made accounting an art, not a science.
Spare that one up for Phil Clough. Phil is trailing by 93 behind the guy who's up here on lane 29. Peter Flynn. That's a 9 for Peter. He pulls into the midway point with a 68, leading this game by 13, and in the match he's up by 87.
I saw your girlfriend Stephanie Perry from Weston the other day.
Oh, you did?
I wanted to say hello to you.
Stephanie. Send her my best next time you see her.
We can do a little better than that, can't we?
No. Here's Peter, concluding the 6th frame in this, the final game. He has a 77 to a 55, and we'll be back with the final 4, but first we're going to break for these messages. He's filling in on a spare. And he fills it with a 7 count. Phil trailing by a whole bunch, down by 87 in the match. And he gets a spare, back-to-back spares by the challenger, Phil Clough.
Too little, too late, I think.
Yeah, he's in a heap of trouble. He's had a lot of 10s. But only 3 spares and 1 strike.
Even Dan Murphy couldn't pull this one out.
Come on, get over. Get over. Phil with 3 spares in a row now. And here's Peter. We mentioned the challenger next week will be Sergeant Slaughter, Mike Sargent. We also pointed out that he had won 7 in a row when we started Big Shot Bowling back in June of 1985. And he was with us one other time after he lost to John Zernicke in his 8th match. He came back in February of 1986. He lost to Rosario Lacchiata, a 377 to a 350. So he's hasn't been with us since February of 1986. Peter Flynn trailing in this string by 5, John, but he's up by 69 in the match.
I don't think he's worried about it.
No. Once again, would like to thank Tony Zernicke, our official for this show.
We haven't seen Stacia in a while.
No, we haven't. We've seen their 2 sons, John Zernicke and Ed Zernicke, on the show. .95 with 2 to go for the champ, and here we go. Phil Clough for the final 2. Looking for his 4th mark in a row.
Bang.
Yes, he got the strike. Oh, would he ever love to get a double and then a triple to fly out of here to Atlantic City, compliments of Fresh Pond Travel. That's 4 marks in a row. Oh, tough one. Tough one indeed. He's going to have to put that wood to work.
Well, Phil started the match. He was flush on the head pin, and he's worked out the problem, that's for sure. Oh.
Yes! Oh, nice shot. Right on the button for the spare. 5 marks in a row for Phil Clough.
There it is again.
Can't play it any better than that. Bingo.
This is a string he can really be proud of.
He's got a 141 plus this ball. And he ends up with just 3. Not bad at all. 144 for Phil Clough after a couple of frustrating 90 games. A 91 and a 95. And then a 144 for a 330. Here's the champ. 8 in a row. Peter Flynn.
Wow.
All right, all right.
See that one again?
13 spares for Peter. Yeah, we can watch it again. Peter filling on the mark, and he fills it with a home run ball. The strike and the spare. If he gets 2 more strikes, he'll get himself a trip to Atlantic City, compliments of Fresh Pond Travel. Peter picking up his 8th straight. Next week, it's Mike Sargent coming in. The 8-time winner. How is he to reset down there?
How has he been bowling lately? Mike been bowling well?
I don't know. He had to bowl pretty well to qualify for this show. One more coming up. Let's see if he can get the spare on the strike. A 9. Fine string. Bert Perangeli will get it all squared away in a moment. Stay with Bert. We'll watch her as she adds it all up. A 134.
394.
You got it, John. 394 for the 8-time champ. And over the years now, Mr. Flynn has been in the winner's circle 13 times. We'll be back, and Pistol Pete will be going after a Thunderbird. Guess what? Peter Flynn jumps into the winner's circle for the 8th straight time, and over the years he's now won 13, and he had a very respectable 394 in defeating Phil Clough.
Is this a repeat, or we have to? We don't even have to shoot these shows. We just do the ends and fill in some bowling. Nobody will know the difference.
I know it. Come on up, Phil Clough. Here's the runner-up. Let's have a nice round of applause for Phil Clough. Come on in here, Phil. Give me a big handshake. Every time you come on here, you have to take on one of the giants in candlepin bowling. Last time it was Tom Surratt. This time Peter Flynn. You're bowling a bit down the first 2 games, but came back with a very respectable 144.
Yeah, it was one of those days. I guess I should have stayed home.
Well, you know, you had a lot of 10 counts, and you were too full on the head a few too many times.
Yeah, I punched a few times.
Yeah, you did. Well, we got $100 for you, a trophy from Girton Trophy Center. And come on in, Jason.
There you go, Phil. Here's your trophy.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Stay right here. Jason has a presentation. Jason, this guy lives in Warren, Massachusetts. Do you know where that is?
No.
Well, what are you going to give him?
I'm going to give you a gift certificate from the Boston Cab Company because you look like you need a ride home.
I sure do.
But they don't know where Warren is. How much is this for?
$12.
I mean, this won't even get you over the border, will it?
Oh, a little ways over.
Phil, good sport, good bowler. Thanks for being with us. Stay right here, Jason. There's Phil Clough, our runner-up. John, what's the story? We've been getting reports about Boston Cab sending these guys home in 1954 Chevys and things of that nature.
They're old. I know they don't spend money on plant and equipment, so I want to know why can't they spend a little money on a wardrobe? That's what I'm concerned.
Yeah, what's the story, Jason?
This is just it. You know, the drivers were very angry. The last thing I said, they didn't want to dress up like that, so we're going for the more casual look now.
Okay, buddy. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, that's correct.
You're going to have some more free cab fare?
As always.
Show business tough, huh,
The
Jason?
lady cab drivers, this one I want to know.
We have some, and they're all very polite. Thank you.
Jason, thank you. And thank you, Boston Cab. Come on up. Let's hear it for the champ 8 times in a row. Jumping into the winner's circle. 394. Not too bad at all.
No, I'll take it. That's for sure, Bob.
Well, you're going to take an automobile out of here?
I hope so. Sick of trying. I want to do it one time.
Well, go do it.
Well, if he's sick of trying, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, he doesn't. Come on, don't get nervous, John, just because you and Duddy Ford are picking up the tab on this baby.
From Oakland, California, May 21st. Red Sox baseball is brought to you all season long in part by Bob Fouracre.